Hello everyone and welcome back to Two Lives Gaming. This is Trizas Max and thank you for joining us. We are busy playing Airport Simulator First Class and today we've got a very special video and we are going to look at how to prepare for long haul flights. Now if you do find this video helpful, do hit that like button and share it with anybody that would find it helpful. If you've got a page or a linky that you want to drop somewhere, do that, because this is something that's quite quite wanted by the community apparently. So let's see if we are prepared for that. What we have to do, prepare for all of the requirements that is needed for a long haul contract. Alright guys, so the logic comes down to this, is that these runway flights have different impacts on the runway. So each flight, whether it's a small flight or a large or medium flight, it's going to have a different impact on a lot of things, on your runway, on your taxiway, and the general traffic in general. Alright, so let's start with the basics. It has to land somewhere, and that's going to land on your runway. So in the expansion of that, we can look at there's still things that are missing for this game, but let's hope it's gonna come up. So there's all sorts of hold times that we have prepared for, as you can see underneath that on and off button. So what we have done is that we upgraded that, so we are ready with that. Then we've got all sorts of other things that are going to run along with that, like I said, the impact. So what we're going to have to do is upgrade our asphalt and wear resistance to carry the traffic that's going to be landing and taking off on the runway, and obviously degrading the properties of that runway and making the costs go up significant, and then obviously the time you have to spend to fix these things. So we want to make sure that we've got all hold times allowed, and that's the most important thing on our runway. Then we've got all sorts of expansions that we've also done. So if we go to our taxiway network, we can see that we've had different sorts of upgrades to our expansion of that taxiway, making traffic flow easier. So in here we can see there were different options that we had to use to make things go more efficiently, and make sure that the bigger planes and the smaller planes don't keep each other up. Alright, that took a little bit of time and upgrading, and you can find more of this information in the medium haul video that I did. I'll put a link here in the bottom, and if you need to go through some of that, you can also check the flux upgrade video that we had. I'll also see to drop that. Alright, so we had to upgrade all of those things to our taxiway, and then the other upgrades, something that I definitely have to spend more time on, is the taxiway network road markings, because that's going to make the aircraft speed on the taxiway go faster. And then again, you want to increase that asphalt and wear resistance by upgrading that. Now that's all to do with where this plane is going to move and where it has to go through to get to the ramp. Now, regarding the ramp, it's a toughie, and it takes a little bit of time to get there, because obviously the first thing that you can see is we've got planes coming in and out, and if we go and check out the planning here, we can see that it's pretty full. There's lots of flights going on, and we can't suddenly just go and delete remove one of our ramps, because all these flights are already booked as contracts. We can't break our contracts. It's a set and done thing. We're going to have to stick with that. So to prepare for this little spot to open up, you can see that we basically took out ramp 1 and 2, which were the small and short haul flights, like these ones on the right. And to do that, we had to go and we had to make sure that A2 and A1 didn't get any more flights. We had to make sure that any flights that were booked on everything else except A1 and 2. So this takes a while until your contracts are done, but there's no contract allowed to be active while there's something on the ramp. So to demonstrate this, you can click on your short haul ramp like this, and if I'm going to try and switch this off, it's not going to allow me, because I can't sell or remove it when it's got active flights on it. So what you're going to have to do is make sure there's no more flights on that. Alright, now that's got to do with the parking. And speaking of parking, we have to put obviously the long haul ramp. To put that long haul ramp, we have to have an open space, which means by now you've had to unlock all of the space at all the ramp sites, and so you're going to need 12 workers for that. We can see that you can only place 3 of these, and I've already planned, I think what I want to do is maybe have a few of these long haul ramps and use my medium ramps to handle medium flights, and then obviously a few small flights or short haul flights. All right. Other infrastructure that you are going to have is the air traffic control tower. Now, this is something that you've probably wanted to build even before you had your medium haul flights, and it is something that's quite essential to make sure that everything that is prioritized on your schedule flights happen at their times. And you can see that by adding the amount of workers here, it's going to be 20 between the two of them, and it's going to work out something around 13 million to round it off. All right, so now let's see if this is going to allow me to place it. Finally, success, guys, because right at the top there in below my money bar, you can see that the 12 workers that I had now gone, and they were assigned to my long haul ramp, which I just built. I didn't know if this was gonna work, but it looks like I got it. And for you guys that got it before me, well, thank you for the help, hey? Okay, so we can see that that's been put down, and wow, it's actually quite exciting. It's always lucky to move up and forward with the game, and it's going to take a while for it to build. And it's been a while since I've seen construction site going on in my ramp area. Something that I wanted to look at on the inside, and something that you might have to look at sometimes, like with the medium haul flights, we can see that some of these items are going to be in the way. Sometimes that does happen because we're going to need that ramp to come through, and then we're going to need the boarding desks. Now, this might be in the way of the boarding desk. So once this is completed and we're going to assign the boarding desk to that, we're going to make sure that there's space for that. So it might block us when we want to do that. Now, looking on the inside of our little airport here, we can see that even with the medium haul flights, it's quite busy. It's not so many flights standing outside right now, but it's quite busy. Speaking of busy, think about the amount of passengers that's going to come through your gates here and into your duty frees and through your boarding gates and then eventually through your security gates and then the baggage carousels. Something that you really have to think about is the amount of packs that's going to come through your airport. So you're going to want to be prepared with a lot of check-in points. First of all, you can use all different sorts to make sure that you've got it optimized to your liking. And then obviously we're going to want to have signage to point all of these passengers into a direction. I think I will somewhere move this one and put it somewhere where I think it might be a little bit more helpful. All right. Coming through here, we've got a lot of passengers, and even here you're going to want to have everything upgraded because there's not many security gates. This is going to be a clogging point when passengers start coming in. Next thing you want to look at is your shops. The more shops you have, the better, I suppose, but there's only limited space. So to beat that, what we have to do is we have to make sure that they are upgraded. So we're going to want to make sure that we upgrade all of these shops to the maximum to handle the maximum amount of passengers. Because as you've noticed, some shops can only, well, all shops can only handle a specific amount of packs per certain at a time. So it's going to take 110 packs to go through in a single hour. We have way more packs coming through than just 110. And the best thing you can do is just go through your airport and start preparing for all the feet that are going to come through here, and they are going to want to do their shopping before obviously this. When I come to the boarding pen, here we can already see there's 210 passengers getting on just one flight. So if all of these are Skyways passengers, it means that, check this out, one restaurant of one Sky restaurant is not enough to carry just one flight. We're gonna need multiples of those, which I have done. We've got one here as well. That needs to be upgraded. We've got another one here. That's upgraded to the max. And at least I can see at 330 passengers, I just might make it. So I'm going to want to upgrade that one as well. So I can handle at least 330 passengers within an hour. It's a lot, eh? Okay. So with that said and done, you're going to want to have all your facilities set up, all your shops, all your restaurants. You're going to want to meet all of the demands of all the flights that's going to come in, and they're going to be quite demanding. All right. Then when flights land, they are going to rush to this part of our airport. Security gates, and we've got a few here that's actually set up for the smaller flights, and we're going to want to review that in time and make sure that that's not too many. I mean, let's look at this. It's 840 passengers that can be handled through these gates. It's quite a lot for short haul flights. So in time, what we're going to want to do is we might want to close these ones and then maybe go and sell them, because it's not really going to help us too much with the bigger flights that's going to come in, because all of those are going to have to go through these big boys, passport checkpoint with the security, and we're going to have to be able to handle a lot of passengers. Now we can see here 216 passengers is what we can carry with one of these, and it's it's not going to be enough if we've got all of these standing in the way. So maybe we'll take out like 2 more and see how that goes in time. But once they move through this gate, your packs comes to the last point, because what you're going to need is you're going to need baggage carousels. And I think for each one of your long haul ramps, I would suggest at least having a minimum of 2 of these and upgrading them as soon as possible. Um, Along with that, there are another few services that you're going to have to reconsider, and some of those services, well, all of those services are going to be on the outside of our airport, and we're going to want to go through some of those. So I know this is getting long, but I really, really hope this is going to be gold for you. Alright, so let's go and check on the outside of the airport. First thing that we also have to look at is obviously the amount of vehicles that we've got, because these vehicles have to go from each one of our services: catering, refueling, and obviously the pushbacking, and obviously considering the staircases, the baggage, as we said, and all of these things have to be prepared for. So let's go through them one by one. The first thing that we want to prepare is obviously our inspection vehicles. Our inspection vehicles is the most basic thing that we need for all airplanes. And if we go and check on the inside, we're going to have to upgrade our vehicles as much as possible. The thing about this is that we have to be ready to do a lot of information in a very short period of time. Now you can upgrade it here. When you see the processing time, that already adds 20 minutes to your flight. Now, data storage capacity and the data gathering speed is going to determine the speed of your flights coming in and out. And obviously you want to capture all of that capacity in one vehicle, one stop, and then we want that to be at maximum speed. So I'm also going to have to upgrade on my inspection vehicle to make sure that I can at least carry one long haul flight. Alright, along with that, the next thing that we always have to remember is that there's going to be some sort of service regarding the airplane's refueling. Now, with that comes along the capacity that we're going to need. We're probably going to want to upgrade this in time, have more fuel than we currently have. And with that said, something has to deliver that, and that's going to be sent out from our fuel station. We can see that we've got a pump flow rate that's been pumped up to the maximum when it comes to upgrades, and that's going to make sure that the flow of the fuel from the tanks to the trucks are going to be at maximum speed. Then we can see here that we've got a capacity for our fuel trucks and the aircraft refuel speed. Sorry, I'm biting on my words. This is very important, because that's also going to make sure that we get everything done orderly and fast. And then obviously we have to make sure that our trucks have the maximum capacity. So the best way we can do that, and the only way we can do that, is to upgrade our fuel trucks as well after the fuel station. Now we want to remember that we need at least one of each of these vehicles per ramp, just to make sure that we don't miss out if we've got more than one flight that needs each of these services. So my rule of thumb is the amount of ramps you've got, dedicate the certain vehicles that might be needed for those ramps. And example for that would be if some of those ramps need a baggage cart or a baggage belt. Let me show you what that is. It means that the one can, like the luggage cart, can only do small planes or short haul planes, and the belt loader can actually only do the big planes. And what you're going to want is you're going to want to have, like, I've got 2 rams for the short haul, so I've got 2 luggage carts, and then I've got 3 medium ramps, and I'm going to have 1 extra large ramp. And what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to make sure I've got 4 of those belt loaders for each one of my bigger ramps. With that said and done, we've got the catering truck, so you can dedicate at least 1 catering truck, maybe per ramp, or at least 3 or 4 for all of your ramps if you've got more than 1 big or medium ramp. That should about cover most of the vehicles. The other obvious one is having a stair truck for all the medium and large haul flights, as we are preparing for the large haul. And then obviously we need a pushback truck for all of our big flights. I do see that the game does use the pushback truck for the short haul ones, so my rule of thumb for pushback trucks is 1 for each of the rams. And then, like I said, with the stair truck, that's actually only used for the smaller flights. The larger flights. Alright, that should about cover everything that we're going to need on the outside here. I did think about something else, and I want to mention it. It's got to do with our contracts. So if we go and look inside here, we can see that there's a contract capacity and the signing limit. Now, what we want to make sure is that we've got a lot of contracts that we can sign, but the most important thing for me is the refresh time and the contract signing limit. So that is the amount of contracts that we can sign, and obviously with the contract capacity, this is going to be a nice thing because it's going to give us the most amount of flights and contracts possible for that signing limit that we've got. And all of these things are going to make it lacquer for us to get the best flights with the best prices and the biggest rewards. Obviously this is all about money and handling packs and airplanes, so we're going to want to maximum out eventually on the choices that we've got. And obviously in the end, this is all got to do with a little bit of logic. You have to think about the tower that you've got, you have to think about the runway, the flux that you're going to need, how that traffic is going to impact everything, the services that you have to do outside on the plane, the speed that it needs to happen, and the capacity of each one of those services. On the inside, we also said that you're going to have to be ready with all of your services from the gates coming in, through your duty-free, into your boarding desks, and then coming through security and picking up luggage and being on their way. So this is a lot of things you have to think of and prepare of, and it's more than just the money that you're going to need. Some of these things are going to take time and preparation and planning to make sure that once that large haul flight lands, we can be 100% ready for the packs and the money that's going to be available. We don't want to miss out on any of that, because the flights that we can handle with the medium flights introduced a brand new kind of price tag other than prosperity lines, and the capacity until thus far has been just over 2 million, and it seems to be popular in the PM flights, and we're going to want to make sure that once those flights come through in the big millions, we're going to want to have space for them. Everything should be prepared, and obviously it's going to impact a lot of our planning, and the pax density should rise immensely. We can see here that just a few medium flights, I'm hitting about the 3/4 park number, and only a few more of those, and yeah, we'll see that we might hit that limit of 1386. Guys, I've loved making this video, and I just want to make sure that I've covered each one of these points perfectly. So if I did repeat myself, thank you so much for bearing me. And yeah, it's been an awesome journey to get to this point now. I think once we get this ramp built, I'd like to show it off in the next video, so please do join us. We're going to look at the density and the spacing inside of our airport. It's going to get really busy here, and the placement of that. Also, I want to ask you if there's any topic that you would like me to cover in a next video. Please do drop a comment, and importantly, please do enjoy the game, and if you did find this helpful, hit the subscribe button, help my little channel, and let's grow together. See you in the next one. Bye bye.